Hi everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California, and I'm going to probably do the quickest garden tour you've seen. Actually, this is my deck garden, which is my container gardening that I've been working on, and you have all been watching me slowly build, and I'm still slowly building it. The upside down planters, a lot of the lettuce that was planted back in December, or I should say came up on its own, has gone to seed, and I'm leaving that because I leave that for the goldfinches and whatever birds want to come in and forage on it. It's fine. And then I could collect some of the seed and replant it. That's an old bean back there. It's kind of died off, but then I think I found beans. Look at that, isn't it? And there's another one down there, and it's old. I'm going to pull that out. Haven't done anything here. I've got my Moringa that I planted back in December, and it's struggling with the cold weather. Probably should have left it in, but I just went ahead and left it. I'm going to start more Moringa as soon as our weather turns into spring for summer. I don't know. But anyways, that's dinosaur kale. That was a piece I stuck in there, it rooted, and it went to seed because this is the time of the year they do it. So it doesn't matter what size they are, they went to seed. And then green Swiss chard right next to it also went to seed. The flowers I leave because the hummingbirds feed on it and different insects feed on it, you know, like your native bees and your honeybees. So I go ahead and leave whatever flowers that I don't care about the plant that much. Once I trim that all out, the plant will come back, and then I can get bigger leaves, or I can move the plant, whatever I'm going to do. These upside down containers, like I've told you, don't go out and buy them. They're like $100. And I told you a long time ago, I got them at Walmart for $5. That's the only reason I bought them. I would not bother with them. They're just too shallow, way too shallow. There's nothing in here. By the time you add in soil, you've literally got, what, 2 inches of soil. But I've got walking onions in there, more lettuce growing in there. I brought some green sorrel over here, so that's doing okay. And Gary took all the asparagus out. So right now I'm left with the old celery. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. And there's a little bit of parsley, and I'm rooting some peppermint. So I kind of will see as time goes on what I'm going to do. That's the tomato from last year that's making a comeback. It's got tomatoes, and then there's apple trees, dill growing in there, and more lettuce went to seed. And like I said, I have done nothing with this. Nothing at all. And then walking around, same thing, done nothing with this. Just letting it go until I decide. A bunch of little pomegranates coming up from seed in an apple tree. I haven't touched that, but I did plant some wheat in there because the dogs love to come out and eat the wheat sprouts, the green microgreens when they grow. And so I planted that for them. This is the containers that I'm actually working on. There's 7 containers set up, and this is going to be what I'm going to be showing you how it's so easy to set up. I still have, what, 3 more to set up. I haven't even finished setting them up, but it's a system that really works so well. You never will have to, if you, let's say, let me go back. If you're doing a deck garden or a patio garden, you'll never have to throw any of your green leaves away. The whole system will work within itself, and it will be like, I don't want to say self-contained because you will need to help, but it's working so good. Look at this. I just set this up. And I've got a tomato plant that's growing in here. I've got lettuce. Look how beautiful my lettuce is. This is just a container sitting here. I'm just sprouting that, rooting that. It's just a purple kale. But look at the purple kale on the top. And I have talked about this, and we're going to talk about this a lot. This container has got my purple kale and walking onions in it. And yep, there's a little cutting from a tomato in there. And what else is in here? I think there's a little tomatillo growing in there. And then I've got a container just with mint. I can move this chocolate mint anywhere I want. This has got holes here. And this is running into here. There's also, I believe there's holes on the bottom. It's also feeding that container, which is like a worm farm. I compost in place in that buried container. Then it feeds this container, which is just making this little tiny tomato plant I put in there just take off. And then after it feeds that, when you water the system, it runs into there, and it's feeding right now my tiny parsley I put in here and another little mint. And let me show you this. This is gold. That's plant food. And I keep this covered so no mosquitoes will get in there. That lid is just some food lid I had. Put holes in there so when it waters that pot, it comes out of there, waters the pot, it goes into that bucket. And then I can take some of that, you don't have to use it straight, mix it in, you know, a watering can and water my plants, which I've been doing. And look at this tomato plant. This thing is massive. I just planted this, I think like 2 weeks ago. It's huge. And so are all the other plants. The celery growing in there. These were tiny, 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 tiny. All this, and then some purple basil. So this is just taken off because I'm using that. And then again, I told you there's worms in there, but there's actually worms in everything. You know, plant it and they will come. It seems like the worms just show up. But I don't throw that water away. Now in here, this one's doing the same thing, but I'm not collecting the water. But as you can see, even with the rain we've been having, it hasn't leached out. So the tomato plant is using all the water that's coming out of the other container. And that's the way I'm going to get the rest of the container set up. I haven't done it yet. Right now, this is a new one I just set up. Literally just set up. And I guess I've got some lettuce coming in the back there. This is just sitting here. This is just some orange mint. I'm going to plant something in there. This is just cuttings I have done and they're rooted. A tree collard, dinosaur kale, and dazzling blue. So I can either leave them in there, take them out, separate them. You can separate those easy. Well, they're really easy to separate. So I'm not sure yet. And then again, I just set this one up and this is taking off. And this is a cutting off a brown berry. So we'll see what happens where I want to move it. And like I said, this isn't set up. See, the top is not done yet. This is all a work in progress. This one is set up pretty much. I'm still working on it. And I've got my paper cups here covered. I've got some beets coming in. I think there's okra starting to grow. There's a carrot back there. But that's, I believe that's sprouting broccoli I planted. And then of course zucchini, we'll see how this does. And my poor moringa plants should be in the house. It's just 50 degrees at night, 48 degrees at night. It's just still too cold for them and they're just babies. But right now I'm leaving them. I'm going to plant some more later. And a teeny little worm farm in there that I'm composting in place in this old coffee container that's full of holes. So when I water, this is just sitting here, but when I water the mint, it goes in there, drains out, and then feeds this. And then of course that drains out, goes in there, and there's another bucket down there catching from there. And then again, I use all that, so you don't have to throw that away. That's what's going on there. And then let's see what's going on over here. Nothing. I haven't done anything. Parsley, it's going to seed. More lettuce in the back went to seed. Look at my lettuce. Isn't that amazing? Normally, I can't grow lettuce like that. Look at the lettuce down there. Look at the size of the leaves. I've been picking them every day and using them. Normally, we don't grow lettuce that well because we're so warm. It bolts right away, so you have to use it quick. But with our cold weather we've been having, kind of like weather that would be more up, you know, in Northern California, the lettuce just loves it. I've got lettuce growing everywhere. And look at the mint even. Well, I'm back. That was my microphone I was wearing fell into that bucket of water, which I quickly grabbed it, ran in the house, wiped it down, pulled the battery out. This is a new microphone. I've learned the hard way how to fix it. I wiped it down really good. I blew it with a hairdryer, but not on warm. And then I dried it off with a vacuum cleaner. And then I took some rice I had and threw my microphone in a bag of rice. And I wrapped the microphone in some Kleenex first, threw it in the bag of rice and let it sit for 4 hours. And then took it out and let it just dry. And guess what? It's working. I thought I was going to have a bad day. But there's my lettuce and it's doing great. I'm trying to do this before it rains. That's a tomato plant that came up, a volunteer. And look, I've got tomatoes. I don't want to bend over and lose my mic again in a bucket. Can you imagine? I emptied all these buckets and I missed that one. And when I bent over, of course, the mic fell into the bucket with water. But that's the way it always works, doesn't it? So that's what's going on over there. And of course, I've got some, of course, I've got some seedlings here that I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put and what in this weather. Because like, it's going to be like 45 degrees tonight. And the parsley, it's gone to seed, which is fantastic because I'm going to collect the seeds off of that and sprinkle it around. got a tomato plant back here and mint, and then more mint on the bottom. All this that I'm really growing now is chocolate mint or peppermint, because that's what we use for our tea, and it's great. I've got some dill growing there, more romaine lettuce in the back that went to seed. I have left it for the birds, and the goldfinches do come up here, but I'm actually going to collect that and I'm going to grow it. And then as you can see down here, I've got more lettuce going to seed. There's more parsley, more lettuce in the back, walking onions. These are not walking yet. No, the ones in my garden are, the ones in the pot are not. More tomatoes. This is last year's tomato that's coming up, and it is full of tomatoes. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I haven't had a wrap-any tool. Nothing's come up on the deck to bother it, but if it does, I will definitely be wrapping tool around it. And this huge thing here is oregano, which is fantastic for anything you're cooking or even your green drink, because this is very, very healthy to add in. And this thing has just taken off like mad. And then I think I've already covered the more tomatoes down here that are growing. So everything's doing really good. And let me see if I can get over here real quick. This is really overpacked, and what I have to do is, this is onions. I'm going to have to thin it down because they're bumping into each other. This was kind of like for fun, and I could pick one now, I guess. You know what, maybe I will pick one now. They're small. Yeah, let's go ahead and pick one now. I'll give it some room. I'll use the onions tonight. Maybe I'll make some fried potatoes and onions. Let's see. Oh, my first onion. It's small, but it's organic. It is not been treated with anything, so it will grow if I cut the top off, which I'm not, because I'm actually going to use the whole thing. But look at that. I'm going to tell you, that's my new thing. I'm going to make sure I grow a lot of onions, because the onions I've been getting from the grocery store, when you slice them open lately, and this is what I'm not happy about, they're bad on the inside and the outside looks beautiful. So what they're doing, I don't want to get into details, it's no big deal, but a lot of this stuff has got either a growth inhibitor on it or they're irradiated. And normally if you see them dead on the inside, like brown, and then it's nice on the outside, that's probably irradiated. It's very much like a microwave. So I know this is going to be beautiful. And this little onion, which is not that little, it's about the size of a golf ball, a little bit bigger, you know, that's going to be quite nice. And it's probably going to have better flavor than some of the other ones. But now I can put a little bit of soil in here, and that will give this one more room to grow, and I'll thin some more out. And then I've got some peas. Basically, it's a nitrogen fixing plant, so I'm going to leave the peas grow and let them die back. It's no big deal. And I'm going to start using the lettuce in there too. I've got lettuce in there. So it is overcrowded, but you know, I can overcrowd them and do this and just thin them out as I need to use them. So that's the quick tour of the deck. Like I said, very quick. And I'm holding on to my mic better this time so I don't lose it. It's the first time I've used it. The first time. I am so careful with my stuff. I still have my Barbie dolls when I was a kid. I still have a watch, a Cinderella watch I got when I was a little girl from Disneyland. So I was surprised that I dropped my mic. But that's it. Now the hummingbirds are all coming in. We can walk over here and see the hummingbirds. See, they're all feeding over there in the window. And I've got all the feeders right now around the house underneath the eaves because it's just been raining and raining. It's going to rain for a week off and on. So this way they don't have to be in the rain when they come to feed. And I've added in an extra feeder there too. So with that, I think I just wanted to kind of do an update. We can see it, how this progresses, and it should be really cool. And I'm going to tell you, this small area should have more food than I really can use. So that's going to be great. So with that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'm so glad my microphone is working because it's not cheap. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye everybody.